Okay, now that we've gone over the basics, I think it's time for some practice. So I have this figure here, and I'm just going to describe the figure to you, and then I want you to pause the video and figure out the area. Then when you hit play again, I'll walk through how I figured out the area. We can compare our answers. So in this figure here, we have this top side length of 6 inches. This side length on the side is 10 inches. Our bottom is 12 inches, and this vertical side length here is 5 inches. This side length is not labeled because it doesn't really matter. You don't need it to be able to figure out the area of this figure. So pause the video, and then when you figured out the area, hit play and see if our answers match. Okay, I'm going to show you how I figured this out. What I see here is a rectangle in this space, and this would be a 6-inch by 10-inch rectangle. So 6 inches times 10 inches is 60 square inches. Then I also see over here another rectangle. This rectangle is 5 inches by 6 inches. The way that I know that this is 6 inches is that if this is 6 inches and the whole length is 12 inches, what I've got left is 6 inches. So 6 inches times 5 inches is 30 square inches. Okay, and then the last shape that I have left that I see right here is a triangle. So I can use 1/2 base times height to figure out the area of this triangle. The base of this triangle is going to be the same as the base of this rectangle here, so 6 inches. And then the height of my triangle, again, I'm going to have to use a little bit of logic to figure this out. I'm going to look across to see if there's anything over here that can help me. Well, I know that this entire side length is 10 inches. I know that 5 of those inches are taken up when I get to this point, and so that must mean that there are 5 inches left here. So the height of my triangle is 5 inches. So 1/2 times base times height gives me the area of the triangle. 6 times 5 is 30, half of that is 15. So then I end up with 60 inches squared for my rectangle, 30 inches squared for this rectangle, and 15 inches squared for this triangle. 60 plus 30 plus 15 is 105 square inches. Hopefully you got the same thing that I did. Let's take a look at another example over here. Okay, so here I've got a figure that has a side length here of 4 centimeters. This bottom part is 4 centimeters. This side length is 2 centimeters, and this side length is 2 centimeters. Just to review, when you see these like dashes or tick marks that are going right through 2 side lengths of figures, that's saying that those side lengths are the same length as each other. So that you can assume that if you drew a line right here, these 2 triangles would be similar triangles, congruent triangles, and they would be equal to each other. Okay, that's going to be important when you figure out the area of that figure. Go ahead and hit pause, do some calculating, and then come back and I'll show you what I did. Okay, for this one, I see a rectangle and 2 triangles. So here's my rectangle. My rectangle has a base of 4 centimeters and a height of 2 centimeters. So my rectangle is 4 centimeters times 2 centimeters, or 8 centimeters squared. Okay, Then when it comes time for the triangle, these triangles, like I mentioned in the setup of the problem, you can assume that they are congruent triangles, because if these side lengths are equal to each other, you've just created a situation where these side lengths are also equal to each other, and that has to mean that this third side length is equal to each other. So if you figure out the area of one of these triangles, you'll know the area of the other one as well. Okay, so again, we have to use some logic to try to figure out what those side lengths actually are. If my entire base is 4 centimeters, that means the top of this rectangle was 4 centimeters. 2 centimeters of it were used up to get to this point. That means this would be 2 centimeters left. I want to know half of that space because I only want to figure out one triangle at a time. Half of 2 is 1. So the base of that triangle is 1 centimeter. Then I need to figure out what the height of my triangle is. So the entire side length here was 4 centimeters. I used 2 of it on the height of my rectangle, so I have 2 centimeters left. So the height of my triangle is going to be 2 centimeters. So to figure out the area of this triangle, I can do 1/2 times 1 centimeter times 2 centimeters. And I end up with 1 centimeter squared. That's for one of these triangles. So I figured out one. The other one is going to be the same, another 1 centimeter squared. So in total, I'll have 8 centimeters squared from my rectangle, plus 1 centimeter squared from this triangle, plus 1 more centimeter squared from this triangle, and I'll end up with 10 square centimeters as the area of the entire figure. Again, if that's a little unclear to you, you're not really sure what I was doing, go ahead and rewind, watch this part over again, and come and see me if you need some help.